All right, good morning. Thanks, Tracy. And I also want to start the day with a great thanks to Jesse and Christine also. What a lineup they have for you guys today. So impressed with how they've put this symposium together. So great job to all of the team that sometimes is hiding behind everything, but they're there and they're going to be here all day to take care of us. So thank you so much to all of them. We're just going to do a quick update overview today. We will just kind of roll with it and see how it goes. We'll see if there's time for questions. Not sure yet. So we're just going to jump in. So we do know that some of our big, beautiful bill pieces are going to be happening. But in the meantime, we've got this Farmer Bridge Assistance. So we look, July, we're going to see some of that come out. I think ARC PLC is probably a big topic of discussion. So looking at that this year, you have till the fall to decide exactly which one you're going to choose, which will be very, very interesting. The rest of the Farm Bill did expire in September 2025, but got extended to September of 2026. So we are funded until September 2026. And you guys can see all of the details, but we do have that continuing resolution to get us for a few days. So one of the pieces that people really think about our ad hoc programs. And so some of these are becoming pretty consistent, but we're going to start with Farm Bridge. It's the biggie one right now. It is through April 17th you can sign up. I am guessing half of you have already signed up. I won't ask for a show of hands, but that would be about accurate with nationally. So those dollars are happening, 11 billion. So sorghum, we have the big chart, but sorghum is at 48.11 an acre. You know, that is going to help. We know crops are not easy right now, but that hopefully will help everybody be able to get into the fields and get their crops planted. The president announced it in early December. We've had a really quick implementation the end of February, beginning of March here, and we are very, very excited about the login.gov, which is one other tool our farmers have. What we're seeing is a lot of our farmers are still going into the office, working with their team. Our teams are amazing. The staff in our office is so impressed. I was just telling Tracy, since I've taken this job, learning the different programs, the depth of the programs, and there is not one that is the same. They all have different nuances in terms of the rules and regulations and how it's implemented. So at the end of the day, we can take a grand announcement from our president and implement it to help our local farmers and ranchers. So pre-filled apps, not like last March's program, but they're not going to get mailed to you. That would be my reminders. They're not coming to you. You actually have to go online through login.gov, or you need to go ahead and schedule an appointment and get into that local office and ask the questions. They're pre-filled, they're pretty straightforward, but make sure you go in. We also just want to remind you that you have to sign it. So if you talk to them on the phone, it's ready to go, you still have to get that signed. And you can do that through Box, you can do that through login.gov, or you can go in and actually do a traditional wet signature. There's not a crop insurance linkage required on this one. Payments are being issued. There's also, it's going to be a full program. So if it says the 4811, that's what you're getting. There's not going to be percentage cut off of that. So that one is, we're very, very excited about it. With FBA, there's also the specialty crop, and I just wanted to share it because that deadline is this Friday. So if you know somebody that's got specialty crops, I'm just going to really encourage you to tell them they've got to get in and be certified for their acres by Friday. Now, sorghum's a commodity crop. You guys are used to going in and certifying every year by July 15th. Habit, we know it, we go in, we visit. But when we visit about our livestock and specialty crop producers, they are not as used to doing that every year. And so if you do have specialty crop friends, or if you're growing any specialty crops, if you want to be eligible for the ASC, I'm sounding like a government person, Assistance for Specialty Crop Farmers, way too many acronyms. I got to remember to say the full words for you guys. I still don't know all the acronyms and probably never will get them all memorized. But this is $1 billion to support specialty crops. So very, very important. You have to have your certification done by the end of this week. In this program, along with Farm Bridge, the deadline matters. There's not going to be a whole lot of bending. There's not going to be a whole lot of relief and like, oh, missed the deadline. Can I still get in? It's looking like there's not going to be that opportunity. So encourage people to take advantage of that. Yep. Debbie.
Share what our specialty crops in Nebraska that this applies to.
You're a step ahead of me, Debbie. There you go. This is the full list. So one that we've been asked a lot about is sugar beets. It's not specifically in this. It is going to have its own program through the sugar beet cooperatives. So very, very important question you had, Debbie. Sweet corn fits in here. Depending on the variety, the dry edible beans and peas, some fit in FBA, some fit in this. So you need to come in and talk to us for sure if you have those products, because you see the dry edible beans on this list, but also the Farm Bridge Assistance list. So this beautiful little diagram or picture is up in a lot of places, but it's tomatoes, it's sweet corn. Just to pick a few, we don't have a whole lot of bananas in Nebraska, so that one's probably not what we're worried about. I know we do have a few garlic growers. We have some horseradish growers. So it is a lot. But sweet corn, I would say, is our biggest. So thanks for the question, Debbie. So SDRP, stage 1 and 2. All of you remember SDRP this summer. A lot of conversation. There's 2 stages. So we know that first sign-up began in July. It does go through, as you can see, April 30th. Stage 2 sign-up began in November, also through April 30th. So it started before FBA, but it ends after. So we have a lot of our farmers coming into the offices right now, and they are working on their Farm Bridge and their SDRP. A unique thing with SDRP, and this is something I've learned this year, is it's a really good example of you may have, when you run the numbers and you fill out the application, you may end up at a $0. But I would still encourage you to go ahead and fill it out and get it on file, because at some point, if they would say, we're going to use that program and increase something here or there, it's already done. You have already jumped through the hoops. And so this is just a really good example of that. Even if you run the numbers and it says 0, go ahead and still have it on file. So SDRP was basically step 1. It's crops, trees, bushes, and vines. So crops mostly for us. It was indemnified losses, 23, 24, disasters. It did use your crop insurance. So if you did your RMA crop insurance, NAP data, pretty straightforward for step 1. Now, what you might notice is $440 million already distributed in Nebraska. It was a 35% payment factor, but we still had over $400 million distributed in Nebraska. I know you guys have heard this, but I'm going to say it again. What happens to those dollars? They go right back into the community, right? So every dollar of this that a farmer is getting is going right back into the community to pay their bills, to buy their groceries. Usually turned over 7 times if spent locally. So we see $440 million up there, but we know that that impact is just amazing. And so SDRP 1, pretty straightforward crop insurance. SDRP 2, which is the one we're currently most people are signing up for. Most from SDRP 1 is done. This is kind of that uncovered or quality losses, or you have to have a little more data and information to explain exactly what losses you had. So non-indemnified, so that shallow loss, so you had a loss, but it didn't trigger insurance, right? So you've got to have your bushels and all of that good stuff. You're uncovered, uninsured, and then quality. We don't know the payments on this one yet. It's just not moved quite as quickly, but it's also a 35% payment factor. So again, encouraging everybody to jump in, get that one done. And I know I've said go to your office 100 times. I'm probably going to say it 100 more before we're done, because those boots on the ground in your local counties are the folks that really make this happen until you're ready to make the jump to doing more of it online. So CRP, sign up is right now, and that's your grassland. That hasn't been announced yet. But continuous CRP and general CRP are open right now. We know that Nebraska has been very, very successful in getting contracts. There are 1.9 million acres available for CRP acres this year. It's a pretty quick turnaround. So continuous, Continuous is considered non-competitive, but it is going to be in batching periods, which means the sooner you get your app or renewal in, the better chance you have of being qualified for CRP. A lot of re-enrollment of those continuous acres. Let's get in, let's get those done. You're also going to see new continuous CRP acres offered, first come, first serve. So for continuous, that's kind of the key. General contract offers open on March 9th. Deadline is April 17th. Lots and lots of deadlines in April. What is a little bit different on general is that it is ranked based on the practices that you plan to implement. So environmental benefits, they're going to be ranked. There's regions in the country of certain points. Certain activities have more points. So you're going to want to work very, very close with FSA and NRCS to figure out what is it that's going to get me qualified for that general CRP. You know, grassland is a CRP program that I've grown to really like because you can still utilize, you can still graze, you can still hay within all of the guidelines. So that one will be opening soon, so keep your ears open. ARC PLC, this is that safety net, right? When we talk FSA, we talk about safety net. This is it. This is our main commodity crop. Everybody knows ARC PLC. If you don't, we can chat. It is the common one, right? So when you look up here, you're going to see one big beautiful bill, updated reference prices. That's needed done for a long time. I've heard nobody say that's a bad thing. That's a great thing that we're getting those reference prices updated. It is taking a little bit of time. Additional base acres. It's been 20 years since we've done that. That is a huge win for farmers to be able to update those base acres. So have a little patience with us. The implementation is not going to happen overnight, but we are working through it. So as we look at those base acres, what you're going to see is we're doing a lot of work behind the scenes right now. And then as a farmer, you're going to receive notice that yours have been updated and you have a certain amount of time to review them and make sure they're accurate and correct, because then once those are updated and official, they're going to last for hopefully not 20 years again, but they're going to last for a few days. So make sure when you do get that information in your hands that you do look at it very, very carefully. Okay, increase the payment limitation up to $155,000, and we did get ARC PLC extended to 2031. Excited about that because what do we need in farming? A little bit of consistency once in a while, because so much of what we do changes all the time. Having consistency, knowing ARC PLC is it until 2031, that is a program that will be consistent, really, really makes a difference, so you can plan accordingly. Under one big beautiful bill, 2025, you don't have to select ARC PLC. It's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. There will be probably quite a few payments because it's going to take the higher of the two and apply them to your farm. 2026, you still have to elect. So this one I do want to spend just a minute on. We're working to streamline the process, but the process still all starts with certifying your acres. The certification is in that same time frame as always. Get your crop planted, get into the office. It's due by July 15th. There's still the insurance ties, and they would love to have it done sooner than July 15th so they can get their stuff done by the end of July. But still, that certification is going to follow the same schedule as always. A lot of our offices are doing appointments. If you've got an appointment, they know you're coming. They can be prepared, have all of your paperwork pulled out, your stuff up on the computer, and it can go much faster. What's different this year is the ARC PLC selection. We don't have an exact date on it yet, but we're anticipating fall of 2026. So for your 2026, you would normally select when you certify. You're not going to do that till the fall. Interestingly enough, if you look at your year and your crop season, if it's the fall, let's say it's September, it's going to make it pretty easy for me to select if ARC or PLC is going to be better for my operation. And so I would suspect 25 and 26 are going to be great years for this program and really be able to provide some assistance to farmers. So that is pretty different. We will see in 2027, but 25, 26 are unique. The additional base acres, just so you guys know, is based on the 2019 to 2023 cropping history. So those are the history digs we're doing. That's our homework right now. Going to maintain current base, but you'll be notified once those are complete. All right, livestock disaster. I know we're at a sorghum meeting, but a lot of you also have livestock. So I do want to just check in on a couple things because they're really, really important for Nebraska. Okay, so your LFP, your Livestock Forage Disaster Program, One Big Beautiful Bill did update it. We are still waiting on exactly what those details are to make those adjustments for 2026. We did work through and update our grazing season to be May 1st to October 31st, because we know in some places those cattle go out onto grass a little bit sooner. So May 1 is the start of grazing season. Everything on LFP matters for grazing season, okay? Also, in the One Big Beautiful Bill, we have the drought monitor here. This is a University of Nebraska-led project. It is used for every time they announce drought. You have your D1 through D4, okay? This, if you look, this is as of March 3rd. You're already seeing a lot of red on that, okay? I dare say that the winter has reminded me of a year not all that long ago that was not so fun. And so we are very aware that as of today, there are going to be parts of Nebraska that are going to probably have drought. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it starts raining and we don't even have to think about it. But go to the drought monitor. You can jump online. You can look at it. This is our triggering tool. What changed is the One Big Beautiful Bill is the trigger during grazing season is now set at 4 consecutive weeks at D2, which is only the second one. It's not even D4, at D2, instead of 8 weeks. It used to have to trigger for 8 weeks to actually get LFP. So we do know in 2025, we had a lot of counties trigger. We expect we're going to see that again in 2026 unless things change. So livestock, ELAP, and LIP, two very, very important programs. ELAP is the one where you hear about assistance to haul that water further than you normally would, or if you have to haul livestock further than you normally would, transporting feed when you normally wouldn't. So track that hauling. Very, very important. Those receipts matter. The documentation that you normally would have pastured 20 minutes away and you had to drive 2 hours away to pasture because of drought. Very, very important. Keep track of your records, okay? LIP is livestock losses, so mortality that's due to a qualified disaster event. And so my words of wisdom here, and I really learned this when I sat on our state committee, if you lose livestock, please, please, please document it. Take pictures. Make sure that if you lose a cow, get a picture. I know nobody wants to take pictures of dead stock, but it's part of livestock. Get a picture of that ear tag. Document the date that was, because you do not know when LIP is going to come into play later on. We saw this in the floods of 19. We've seen it in some of our blizzards the last few years. Extraordinarily important to document. Okay, marketing assistance loans. This one is important. The final date for grain sorghum is June 1st, 2026. So basically, this lets you get a loan to hopefully wait for better prices, is probably the easiest way to say it. Provides financing to meet cash flow needs without having to sell that commodity when market prices aren't great. So these MAL loans, they can be very, very useful. But sorghum, you've got until July to go ahead and apply and utilize the MAL for 2025. Excuse me. So I do think it's important. It's a program that could be used more than it is. All right, farm loans. Everyone is pretty aware of FSA's farm loans. We are the lender of first opportunity. So generally, you are going to work with a commercial lender, and they're going to say, oh, your cash flows aren't going to quite work. We're going to go ahead and utilize FSA. So we are partners with those banks. You can see the numbers on there. You can look those up online. The one we're really excited about is our beginning farmer and rancher work. In Nebraska, we do a lot of beginning farmer and rancher work. All right, login.gov. I mentioned it earlier. Farmer Bridge is the first one that used it. This is our opportunity. If you want to start doing things on your own and not go to the office for everything, this is it. Farmer Bridge was the first one that used it. We're going to keep moving towards it. The secretary talked about one farmer, one file at Commodity Classic. It's going to hinge on this. So we can talk more later. I am going to call it good there. It is time. I don't want to get you late in your day, but I very, very much appreciate being here to just give you a quick update. Thanks for all that you guys do to help your sorghum producers. I'm excited for the day. I'll be around most of the day, so let me know if you want to catch me on specific questions. All right.